Oh, it's the final exam.
I want to add one thing in here which is hilarious. You can accuse anyone of the crimes. There is actually one person from the evening who is willing to testify on your behalf if you put together a significantly good case, because they know enough about the happenings of the evening. They are hovering just out of screen, and you can accuse them of just everything, just up and down, right to their faces. Alright. In traditional police procedure, you grade the reporters on what they think happened.
I'll get a gold star. Or like one of those stickers that says grape job. It's like a picture of a grape.
Okay, who murdered Pippin Carter? Who murdered Dr. Carter?
Dr. Carter, that would be the first murder of the evening, but not the first murder, period.
Yes, the dagger through the gullet.
Alright, Skippy. You know what I think. What do you think?
No pressure.
Whew, apologies.
Oh.
Okay, where are we at?
I just thought
I closed my window, started raining.
No, that's fine. Who murdered Dr. Pippin Carter is the question.
Who murdered Carter?
First man.
Yes.
Carter.
The arrogant archaeologist who found the dagger.
Carter.
And then found it a second time in his chest. Well, not the dagger. But...
I don't flippin' know. I mean...
That's the answer. Basically.
Like my go-to suspect for everything is O'Reilly, because it seems like he's completely behind it. But hold on, Carter... We didn't find anything on Carter, right?
The clues we found on Carter were Dr. Smith's giant gold ankh necklace and a bloody shoe print that looked like it would have fit Yvette's.
Also, he was supposedly meeting Yvette.
Right.
And Dr. Smith was taking a telephone call from a mysterious person that he couldn't bet who it was.
But Dr. Carter's face was sort of rigor mortis in a terrified expression.
Yes.
And he had a urine stain on his pants, and he was stabbed in the heart from the front, which really doesn't seem like he would take that reaction to Yvette, even if she came at him with the dagger.
Right.
I would seriously think he could overpower her if necessary.
And you would think he would be ready for physical violence from Smith.
Right.
Especially if he corners him alone. Yeah, I can't imagine Carter being terrified of Smith, or anybody being terrified of Smith, actually.
Right.
Right.
So.
I would think Carter would also not be terrified of any of the museum employees.
Sure.
Because he would know them, and also I don't really see what they stand to gain from the theft of the dagger, or the murder of the famous man who is bringing acclaim and popularity to their museum. So I don't think Miklos, Wolf, or Ernie really fit the bill. Carrington, as we discussed, was probably a fake. I see Watney Little's here too.
Yes. Interestingly, he would still be there if you did not find the police files. You'd just be like, who?
Awesome. So so it's down to either Little or O'Reilly for me, and I'm gonna go with O'Reilly.
Sure. That's
yeah.
Right.
Oh, now we have to pick a motive.
Yes.
Okay.
Why
Self-defense, clearly not. Fear, no. Jealousy. I don't think O'Reilly was jealous of Carter.
Probably
He was famous, but O'Reilly never really mentioned anything. Mercy, what? Yeah. Thrill, revenge, no. Mental professional killer. I haven't seen any evidence that O'Reilly is a hitman.
Right.
So no, I don't think so. Financial gain, maybe.
That seems like a good one.
That's possible because, as we mentioned, the dagger is certainly valuable.
Right.
And,
but keep in mind, the dagger has been stolen.
It's true.
So
it's true.
That would honestly fit more with cover another crime. If Carter found out
somehow murdering Carter would cover the crime.
Here's an interesting little factoid for you. that you would not have known, and I wouldn't have said until you picked that particular person to have killed Carter. If you asked O'Reilly what happened to Carter, he would have said, "Oh, the coroner Henri took his body away."
Huh. Which is a blatant falsehood.
Right,
yeah.
It was found in the armor later. So, accident or had a bad day. Ha 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 ha.
Well, this whole mess started because of the dagger. And I think the whole mess was for the dagger's financial value.
Okay.
No crime had been committed yet by O'Reilly other than the theft of the dagger, which everyone already knew about, and no one was pinning on O'Reilly. And there was no evidence that Carter knew it was O'Reilly, unless he found something in the 5 minutes since we saw him at the party.
And again, there's no actual evidence that it was, in fact, O'Reilly that did it.
Right. In fact, I kind of think O'Reilly wasn't the one who nabbed the dagger himself. I think that was probably Watney.
So why would he kill Carter?
I think that he's got something. Somehow Carter is standing between him getting away with the dagger and not. And see, I don't have a solid grasp on this one because I think I missed some clues. But out of these two options, all these other ones are between financial cover crime. Everything else is stupid.
Silly,
I throw those away. I don't know of any crime that this would be covering, and maybe that's the clue I missed. I'm not exactly sure why Carter had to die for O'Reilly to get away with the dagger, but I think I think that could be one of the clues I missed. So I'm going to say financial gain.
Let's do it.
I think I would be more likely to miss a motive for the killing than an entire other crime.
Sure.
Who murdered Ziggy? Oh, man.
Who killed Ziggs?
It would have been me in another 10 minutes if O'Reilly hadn't beaten me to it.
Who do you think, Skips?
My God.
Who would have killed Ziggs? Keep in mind, Ziggy had a solid theory as to who stole the dagger. He was saying he was keeping quiet out of his own safety. He was supposed to meet with Carter at some point in time, so he may have seen his death. He probably also knew either about the theft of the dagger or other wrongdoings.
Now, see, that's the thing. The whole question of why is Ziggy even at this party?
Yes.
What does Ziggy have to do with the museum at all? And we know from Steve that the paintings are forgeries. And also we knew because Anonymous Bosch is not a real person.
Right.
And so we know that things have been stolen from the museum before. We know Ernie's been fencing things. I think Ziggy was involved somehow in these other thefts.
Okay.
He seems to know an awful lot of the people here.
Sure.
So my guess is he's got something to do with these other thefts.
Sure.
And possibly this one. See, I don't see the dagger's theft being different from the thefts and forgeries of this paintings. The dagger differs only in scale, not in type.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, and this is what I mentioned in the post, I think it's O'Reilly that killed Ziggy. And the reason he did it was to cover the thefts that's going on. Because Ziggy is a horrible person.
Right.
He's a criminal, probably.
Yeah.
My guess is he's got something to do with sort of, I don't know, underworld contacts or something. Ernie was fencing, but maybe he had just something to do with it. I'm not sure. I think I missed some stuff about Ziggy. But that's just my guess. However, Ziggy's also not the sort of person I would trust to, like, have knowledge of big crimes I committed.
Yes.
So I think whoever is involved with this big theft of the dagger, Ziggy knew about it, and this person wants to get all the profit for themselves, and they want Ziggy to not get any of it, and also not to be able to finger them after it's done.
Sure.
So I'm going to say covering up a crime.
Because he is, in fact, a professional stool pigeon.
It's
so,
true.
Yeah.
Who murdered Ernie Leach?
Ooh, who killed Ernst?
This one is like so stinking obvious. I'm afraid that it's almost red herring obvious. But come on, it's O'Reilly. And it's to cover a crime. We talked about this in the thread.
Any different opinions there, Skippy?
No, that sounds about right. Like, pretty much, it's just the before the beginning of the game and the beginning of the game that doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. But the rest of it just seems like murders building on murders.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, Ernie specifically said he saw someone doing something with the tanks.
Right.
And his office is right across from the tanks, and we found the dagger in the tanks. And Ernie was smelling of alcohol, just drenched in it when we found him. And so was O'Reilly, one room away, when we found him right afterwards.
Right.
So, yeah. I think Ernie saw O'Reilly putting the dagger in the tanks, and then O'Reilly killed him to cover it up. Who murdered Yvette? Well...
Who could it have been?
You know, the big clues on the body were spectacles. Of course,
the red
fact that
hair.
she is in plaster, and the red hair, which would seem to point to Steve Dorian, but she was also throttled with her own nylons.
Yes.
So, this clearly happened during one of her salacious encounters. And
now, interestingly,
that doesn't narrow it down a lot.
Well,
but,
the interesting thing is, so our go-to guy is O'Reilly.
Right.
But, by this point, he was furious with Yvette.
That's true.
He was not getting along with her at all.
As I said in the thread, the only time I've seen anyone threaten another character with murder in this game is O'Reilly threatening Yvette if she ever cheated on him.
Right. Then she did with everyone in the world.
Right, so this would be jealousy, is my guess. Okay, who murdered Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton?
Who wouldn't?
You know, I mean, she said O'Reilly. She had grapes by her. Skippy, did you think I missed anything there? I clicked all over her corpse. What could she possibly...
She was killed by a snake bite. She was tied up.
Right.
Very quickly tied up.
She was tied up.
She was hog-tied.
Probably implies a man.
Split second.
It doesn't appear that Olympia was involved, even though it was her office and her snake, because of that bizarre sort of clairvoyance cutscene we got access to.
Yeah.
I forget if we got that anywhere else in the game. Did we ever get a cutaway like that?
No, that was the only time.
That was it. That was weird.
And it was one room away, so it's weird to be like, meanwhile, over here.
Right, across the hall. Alright, so it was O'Reilly. Yeah. Okay.
Why would he murder the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton?
Now here's the thing. The Countess is clearly a faker.
Yes.
She can't keep her stupid Eliza Doolittle accent out of her voice for more than a sentence at a time.
Where were you then?
Right. She can't, she has no business at the museum from an intellectual perspective. She's not, she doesn't know squat about Egyptology, and I should know. I asked everyone.
I mean, to be fair on that one, she is the consort or whatever of the current museum president.
Is she really? Question mark. Because her disgusting reaction when we showed her Carrington's watch, which we found on the bone skeleton down in the basement.
Okay.
She just flipped out. And there's no reason why she would have flipped out if she would have just thought, oh, that's Carrington's watch. Why do you have that watch?
Sure.
But she just went bonkers.
Give me that. Yes.
She knew Carrington was dead. She didn't want someone to know. She's afraid that I found out. She is a criminal in some capacity. And from the police report, I'm pretty confident that the guy we've been calling Carrington all day is actually Watney Little impersonating him, and that the guy we saw getting throttled in the intro cutscene was Watney Little throttling Carrington. Those are my guesses. And since the Countess knew about Carrington's death. I'm going to say she knew about his death because she flipped out like that. That means she probably knew Carrington is an imposter. Or the current Carrington's an imposter. She knew Watney Little's an imposter. So my guess is she's a criminal. And she's here involved in the whole thefts ring. And my guess is that when O'Reilly murdered her, it was to keep her from being able to name the other people in the ring after the evening was over.
Sure.
So there we go.
I'm going with
Who was the skeleton found in the steamer trunk? Do I get this question if I never found the skeleton?
I believe you do, in fact.
Awesome. That's Dr.
Just
Carrington.
So it was Steve Dorian.
Right. Who murdered Dr. Archibald Carrington? I think this is probably the only murder that wasn't O'Reilly. It was a man in the intro cutscene. I'm pretty confident about that.
Yeah.
It was certainly a man's clothes. So.
Yeah, and big and throttly. Probably. I mean, maybe the Counts can do it. She looks like she had big knuckles, but other than that, yeah, forget that. Yeah, it's Carrington. I'm going with Carrington.
All right.
Was killed by Watney Little.
Was killed by Watney Little.
Yeah.
Who impersonated Dr. Archibald Carrington? Watney Little. Who murdered Watney Little? Okay. Obviously not the Countess. She flipped out.
Right.
I mean, he was impaled face down on an adamantine porcupine. There's... I don't see anyone but maybe Wolf and O'Reilly being capable of that. Ernie Leach doesn't seem like he would want to. He's getting rich off of his position stealing from the museum. Or at least paying off his debts.
Sure.
Steve Dorian, I don't know a motive for him. I've been sort of passing over Najir. When I made my speculations in the thread, I didn't,
Well, he's just been a cipher, a non-entity.
Right. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know he was part of this stupid rock cult. And I guess that's where all the happy party goers went, were all those folks down the rogues. Mystery solved there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with O'Reilly killed him.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Najir. He's a lot of overturn in the museum administration would make it more, not less likely that his stupid cult would be found out.
I mean, he's clearly willing to kill to protect the cult, but would he, if it doesn't help the cult, why would he
Was the cult in danger from Carrington Little? I don't think so. Maybe I missed a clue on that, but I'm going to go with O'Reilly. Yeah. And I'm going to go with covered under crime. Who actually stole the dagger from the ancient Egypt exhibit? Now that's interesting. I would think one of the museum employees would have the best shot at that.
Absolutely.
Wolf's not a criminal. Or at least I'm not.
It's gotta be Najir.
You think it's Najir?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Amon Rock cults. I guess they need the dagger for reasons.
But would he have put it in the gift shop and then in the alcohol tank? Why wouldn't he have kept it down in his big giant shrine?
Man, who knows why those Egyptians do what they do. Yeah.
That's
What do you think?
Or maybe it was Watney Little. Oh, hold on a second. Maybe they installed Watney Little as fake Carrington so that he'd have access to the exhibits and stuff.
That would make sense. That would make real good sense.
Yes, would.
And if in fact, okay. I bet that's it.
Who would have better access than the museum president?
Watney Little. Who manipulated Watney Little into stealing the dagger?
Hey, alright,
Well,
I like that. I like being confirmed by later questions. This is why you read the entire test first, kids.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the one who would stand to gain from it and then was planning on murdering him afterwards to make sure only he gained from it. O'Reilly.
I'm going with Ryan Hanrahan.
Who was the woman involved in stealing paintings from the old Masters Gallery?
They kind of say a lot with that one question there, don't they?
Yeah. Man, I mean...
Is that the Countess, then?
Either the Countess or Yvette.
Certainly not Olympia.
No, not Olympia. She likes it.
I don't think it was Yvette, because, I mean... I think she's a bit of a power player, but she's not a criminal, right? When she was talking to Ernie about Ice Pick or whatever,
right?
It doesn't seem like she's involved in the criminal element, whereas the Countess is, she's been seen at the speakeasy.
And she's obsessed with social status and class and money, and that's why she's putting on her fake accent. She's big into money, and those thefts were stolen for money. Yeah, those were there for money, so I'm going to go with the Countess.
Countess. All right.
Based on what we now know, your assumption is correct.
They already knew all of this. They're just messing with you. Now, this to me is a weird question because clearly lots of people. But whatever. You would think at least Carrington/Little.
Right. I mean, but I would also think maybe Ziggy?
Possibly Ziggs. We don't know what he was involved in.
Well, if we say Countess was the woman involved, and the coroner was good enough to confirm our suspicions.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Who's the Countess? Yeah, thanks, Guy. The Countess was most involved with Watney Little, not with Ziggy. She thought Ziggy was an atrocious little toad, and probably the only point on which we can agree. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Watney, I guess.
He was clearly her,
Yeah, okay, good. Got that one right, too.
Cool.
Who was the middleman who provided forged paintings for the Countess and sold the real ones for? Interesting, the middleman. Ziggy?
Who else?
Not Najir, not O'Reilly, not Wolf.
No.
Ernie or Ziggy?
Ernie or Ziggy. We know that Ernie is involved in fencing. Who knows what he was fencing in and out?
But
if you'll recall, the Countess was going to meet with Ziggs at some point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ziggy on that one.
That's a fair guess.
You know, he's given me this on 3 questions. I wonder if that means I was wrong on the ones he didn't give me that.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Who's the high priest, the Amon-Ra Sunrush first? Could it be the man who lispingly asked me to answer a stupid riddle?
Because they give you the lisp so that you would recognize him, I think is why they do it.
But then they took off the mask.
Clear. Yeah, but they didn't exactly show him.
They showed his face.
I guess.
Right there.
Yeah, sure. Whatever, it's Najir. There's no possible way you would miss this one.
You're very observant. That's just condescending, coroner. Come on. Runs a fencing operation. Okay, yeah, we did hit that one.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this one.
He's moonlighting with his own business.
Yep, he didn't actually fence anything. He was a fence installer.
Oh man.
Oh, humor.
I'm gonna kill you, coroner. You're next.
And here's Dr. Smith, who again you could have accused up and down. And who is standing just right off screen.
Look at him slide in. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess he was down there too.
Oh, so that was the
Well, that's not a surprise.
I didn't see any of them with a fez, but yeah.
What? Why do you need to, his hood fell back briefly? His hood fell back when we pulled it off him, and he was pinned, presumably until the police arrived, in the T-Rex.
Yeah, sure. Fine. Whatever.
Okay.
Excellent.
A commendation of valor from the police department. I don't know if that's a real thing.
Probably not.
Look at these reporters reporting on their other reporter.
Clap, clap,
It's always
clap,
great when a
picture,
journalist
picture.
becomes the news.
Well, there you go. I believe this is the best ending, and I am owed a song to the people.
Yes.
So, way to go.
Wow.
You were, in fact, correct on all questions.
Good heavens.
Yeah. Would you like
Did
to
they
hear?
still do this in the 1930s? Break rocks in a
Probably
big square
not.
yard in stripy
I
clothes?
don't know, sure.
I thought that was more like
the 1890s or something. I don't
no,
know.
I don't know. If
like
"Oh
cool
brother,
thing
where
to
art
do.
thou" is any indication,
Yeah,
then
I
they
suppose
did wear
that's true.
those stripy clothes on the Chain Gang. That was set in the Great Depression.
If it's the last thing he ever does, you will pay for your
Oh,
crimes.
but I guess he never gets out of prison because there weren't
Nope.
any more sequels after this.
Interestingly, if you had not picked up that police file on Watney Little, they would not have convicted him, and he would have shot you later that evening.
Really?
So, yep. Or the grapes. Without the grapes, they wouldn't have convicted him either.
Wait, what?
Your case isn't strong enough. You haven't found all the evidence. It's just the "have you found all the evidence" flag.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
So,
I see.
How do you miss the grapes? That's my question.
oh, I don't know. You don't. The game considers that to be such overwhelming evidence that you should totally know that it was O'Reilly who did everything.
Wait, what?
Because he eats grapes.
Hang on. This had better be a made-in-Pittsburgh replica, Steve.
I bet it isn't.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
'Cause Laura
it
thinks
is.
it. Yeah, it's just Laura. Laura, after all that, you'd think you would at least look for the Pittsburgh mark.
Nope. No. Too dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another funny thing. If you somehow manage to track down O'Reilly and show him the dagger, he takes it from you, and you do not get it back.
Really?
That's
He says,
fantastic.
"Oh, I'll admit that as evidence." And
Right.
You are a big old dummy. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me briefly outline what all happened in this game. Ziggy has long been sort of a con man and a forger, and he developed a working relationship with the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carleton through means which have not been established, although probably she sought out him. She was a big old creepy lady and terrified the old museum president before she killed him for his money, but not before he changed his will so she couldn't get it. So, looking for more money, she became involved with Archibald Carrington III, and through Ziggy got to know, got to know O'Reilly. O'Reilly arranged for the notorious killer Watney Little to be broken out of a jail in England somehow. Who knows? He was then forced to kill Carrington and impersonate him. So they were been running this painting forgery ring for a while, and that was sort of culminated in the theft of the dagger by Little, who then stored it someplace. O'Reilly came in and then just murdered everyone, and yeah, that's the story. Why did he murder everyone? It's really hard to say. I can see why he'd kill Ziggs.
Well, yeah, I can see why anyone would kill Ziggs.
Yeah. Yep. Wolf was completely innocent of all charges and just a big
Good.
old weirdo.
Just a doofy old guard.
Just a doofy man.
Yep.
Nobody missed Watney Little. That's fun. No
Nope.
one cares about you, Watney.
Wait, she married him because of my success?
Mm-hmm.
Would she not have otherwise?
Well, Wolf would have been fired if not for your success.
Oh, I see.
And so she would not have married. So inspired were they by you. Ugh. Does everybody have a will? Because I'm not sure that... Oh well, whatever.
I have a
sure
will.
don't.
Do you?
No.
Is it just that you want all your bile married? And
That's
mailed
right.
in?
Bury me with my money. $7.50.
Yes. Fine. See, it was on a tour of the U.S. and European museums. Like, it wasn't even at the Lion Decker for many years. Whatever. Fine. Whatever. I like how everyone that died, like, is displayed at the museum.
Yeah, they're just leaving it there.
Yeah.
That's really morbid.
Yeah, it's super morbid.
Guess
Yeah.
just
Consider a millionaire in 1920? That's so much money.
From an accounting business, no
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, he's doing something on the side. If you don't catch O'Reilly, it says he, through frugality, makes a lot of money and retires to an island or something.
Sure.
A gentleman cabbage
farmer. Yep.
Damn.
The dream of many a man. Oh, Crotty.
Become my assistant, huh? That's kind of a... That must have been fairly insulting in the 1920s.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm glad to know what happened to Henri Lamour, but I do not care.
Oh, low fact.
There was a little bit of metagame.
Now, wait, hang on. A
Yes.
millionaire in the laundry business.
Yes, there is
running a laundry chain.
Apparently, Chinese laundries really were a thing at one point in time. But yeah, probably no one made $1 million off of them. Probably. Yes, I suspect he did. There was a bit of metagame that I loosed into the world in the first LP I did of The Colonel's Bequest, which talked about Laura and her husband, Steve, and I'm sorry to anybody who saw that, because it kind of spoiled that he wasn't the thing. Oh, here's someone has apparently looked up that $1 million is $11,674,250 today. So,
alright.
That's a lot of money. Well, thank you very much, Skippy and Bundafun. This was absolutely a pleasure. Even if I lost the bet and will now have to sing, which I will cut in later, I'm pleased at all the times you guys died in the last chapter.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure that was your motive all along.
So many deaths.
So, impressions, thoughts? What do you guys think? It's kind of a mess, yeah?
Bundafun, why don't you go first?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, in the first place, this is not a sort of game I would ever have played otherwise. So, I did play some LucasArts point and clicks back in the day, but I never really had any Sierra ones. So, this was... I was sort of running on hearsay and just general reputation. When I see the sheer volume and quality of the bullshit in this game was really quite impressive.
I mean, again, think about how many times you would have died in that last chapter if you hadn't picked up the things that I told you. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, let's go through it. You didn't have the wire to begin with, because why would you think to bite off a snip of wire?
Right.
I
guarantee you, using the snake lasso on the latch, I would not have found that for an hour at least.
How on earth would you have found that? And I think you also did need to block the door with the mummy there. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so there's that.
On the other hand, I will say that this game did a lot of stuff I enjoyed.
Sure.
I found very impressive. The art was very good. I mean, look at that. Laura's disintegrating into a pile of bones.
Sure.
Even today, that sort of hand-drawn, custom bone pile disintegration is just not something you get.
Absolutely. That's a dedication to craft.
That is. And I suppose if your goal in making a mystery is simply to keep surprising the player, then mission accomplished, I guess.
Yep.
Also, I must say it is fairly gratifying that through basic logic and the clues that we uncovered, we were able to discern the murderer.
Yeah.
And that they didn't,
make it just bats crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wish that they had ended it in a way that would have made it less stupid that we would have to do that.
Right, sure.
I mean, when O'Reilly is caught unmasked with the mace and, like, a pistol with 2 fired rounds in it, and,
Yeah.
Do we need my testimony at that point?
No,
really?
I'm pretty sure not. Also, I should say that, I kind of gave you my take on the story, which is very good, sort of put it together from all the clues. It never really tells you. You missed a few conversations. They don't tell you anything you didn't figure out. There's one where you hide and then the Countess walks into the room with a painting under her arm, and you sort of pop out and you're like, what are you doing with that painting, Countess? And, of course she's just, I just picked it up somewhere. And then you sort of, and she admits that she's been forging paintings, and I think she might have mentioned Ziggy, but,
wow. Yeah. I'm not much of an art critic, but the idea of putting like a great masterpiece under your arm and strolling around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Good times.
Uh-huh.
And then I should say that you say, well, gosh, like, don't you think that people would have noticed that these paintings were forgeries? And she says, well, that's the genius of it. Once we had got them all out, we were just going to slash all of them up so people would think it was an act of art violence and someone had just slashed up all the paintings. Don't you see the brilliance of the plan?
It's the perfect crime. I can't see why this is